In a world where reboots and remakes are common, only one group stands apart as original content. They are the GenXperts.
I'd like to welcome you back to the GenXperts podcast. This is Derek Phelps, your host. Today I am joined by my wife, Bridget Phelps.
Hey.
Dr. Derek Allen Clements.
Hello.
Miss Courtney Clements.
What's up?
Dr. Amanda Salazar Higgins. And Jonathan Higgins. Man, that was smooth and mellow. Kind of made me feel away. Today we're talking about 80s movie remakes. Are they really even necessary?
No.
Yes. No.
Not the
And this has been another episode of.
Glad you came.
Sorry, that was the gut reaction because.
Are they necessary?
No.
Yeah, but if they just remake the right ones, but instead of remaking ones that were good to begin with, I don't see the point.
Well, I think that, and I believe this ship has sailed, but it'd be better if they did the remakes with Betty White in them.
With AI,
Well, AI, we can bring
now.
Betty back all we
that
want.
one in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like they remade Footloose. Why?
Courtney, opinions?
Oh, I have opinions about Footloose. So yes, I do.
We'll talk to y'all next episode. Courtney's got this one.
Well,
Okay, well, for all of the listeners who don't even know what we're talking about, please explain, just in your own words, the original movie Footloose and the importance of it.
okay. Well, the original movie Footloose came out in I don't remember what part of the 1980s.
83, I think.
Oh, I wasn't that young.
Oh, 84, 85.
Okay, let's look it up.
Something we couldn't do early on in our Gen X
1984.
years. We couldn't Google things.
All right, 84, and at the time that movie, the plot line of the movie is you have this young man who, with his single mother, moves from a larger city to a small town, and in that small town, dancing is forbidden.
Oh.
And it's all around the local church. That the church pretty much runs the town, and the church kind of decides, and it's all based on essentially the minister's son and several friends went across state lines. They went to a bar, they danced, they drank, and then they were coming back across a bridge and they all died. And because of that, the town, aka the church, starts passing laws against drinking, against dancing whatsoever. Basically, it's a very polite teenage rebellion movie because they don't want to do anything bad. They just want to dance. And that is what the whole movie is about,
What's
is
wrong
we
with
just
that?
want to dance. And the Kevin Bacon, of course, starred in the original, and he was amazing. There was the remake,
Yeah.
not terrible. I will go with that, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you why it was not terrible. I mean, I didn't love it. I don't want to watch it again. And they changed a few things. They
Mhm.
had the young man playing the main character as coming from Boston, so he had this kind of very exaggerated
Oh.
Boston accent, which was a bit jarring. Yeah, they updated it a little bit, but honestly, I can see where the plot line would work in modern America, because there are still small towns that are run by churches that would have the political clout to ban dancing
Most
in a
definitely.
town. But for that one, I don't want to say it was a shot for shot remake, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
They didn't take it and change the whole story and adapt it. They didn't really,
For
they
a
just-
modern audience.
No,
Yeah.
it was just they changed a few things, kind of updated technology a little bit. It didn't need to be remade. There was no purpose to it,
Yeah.
but the remake was not terrible.
All right, so here's going to be my question that I'm going to ask, that I'm going to toss out with a lot of these. If they had not called it Footloose and it had been a standalone movie that was not,
I would have said they ripped off Footloose.
Yeah.
but if you were looking at it as just a standalone movie, do you think you would have enjoyed it more if they weren't trying to recreate Footloose?
That is possible. Obviously, you can't go back and unring that bell, but
Right.
Yeah.
it is certainly possible that I would have enjoyed it more, just like for example, the Will Smith movie I Am Legend, which has literally nothing to do with the Richard Matheson book I Am Legend from the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
If they hadn't called it I Am Legend and pretended that it was I Am Legend, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot. As it was, I wanted to hurl things at the screen.
And that was also made before as like a Charlton Heston film as
yes,
well.
there are actually 3 of it. There's, first there was Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And it was called The Last Man on Earth.
Mhm.
And then there was Charlton Heston, Omega Man. And then came Will Smith calling it I Am Legend, but it's really not.
Well, I mean, how many versions of An Affair to Remember have there been?
True.
Mm-hmm.
But love stories are
affair.
universal. They cross boundaries of time, they cross boundaries of culture, they cross boundaries of space. That's why you can find Shakespeare being taken to Eastern culture, Western culture, doesn't matter, because who doesn't understand young lovers whose parents are
Yeah.
against them?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know?
And I think there is some space there where, it might be useful just because of technology. I know Henry Cavill's working on Highlander right now, a remake, and I'm kind of torn, but
Yes.
I have to also grasp in my mind that from a film standpoint, the original Highlander was not that fantastic a visual film.
No.
It did have Sean Connery though.
And there's no replacing Sean Connery. But as much as I oppose, Bridget Lynn Phelps opposes remakes, okay? As much as I oppose the remakes, the one redeeming quality is the quality.
Yep.
The improved quality of the film itself and the effects. I mean, you can't beat some of the effects that they can do in movies and things now, and
I agree, but that's like when they went back and with Star Wars and made the technology nicer. No, that just ruined it.
It did.
Well, maybe another redeeming quality would be introducing these stories to another generation,
Yeah.
and then they can go back and say, oh, "Okay, so maybe this story isn't so bad," and then they'll want to revisit some of the older versions.
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch Footloose. Did it have the same soundtrack, or was it an updated soundtrack?
Senator, I do not recall.
So one thing that comes to mind here is the remakes that were made of Star Wars. And
Now, is that a remake or a reboot?
I mean,
I'm
sequels.
talking about when they redid A New Hope,
Yeah.
Empire Strikes
Okay,
Back.
when they went back in and
Yeah.
did, like
Digital
updated the effects.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't just update the effects. Scene 3PO had a gold freaking bag. I've got VHS that has it. I've got DVD that has it. I've got a Star Wars storybook that shows it had 2 gold legs. And that's because
Controversy.
Mhm.
it's called the Mandela effect, but it's not really. It's because George Lucas is a jerk.
Jonathan's opinions do not reflect Phelps Media Incorporated. Sorry, Mr. Lucas.
Please don't sue us.
When it was done, when the first 3 movies came out, he was the protocol droid of the princess. So everything matched up. That's what he was. And it was only after you had the backstory of, Anakin made this out of scrap that he got the silver leg.
Mm-hmm.
I had not thought that
New
deeply
Hope.
about it, but now.
New Hope, Jabba was only mentioned. And then he's added into it in the newer version. Now there's some shenanigans.
Okay, shenanigans.
Now there has been a project, I have to find it later, that Star Wars lovers, obviously, of the original trilogy have brought the original films unedited by Lucasfilm and have brought them to a 4K format. They went in and found old reels that were given to theaters to run and redid them cell by cell and have got them out there. So there is that now.
That's art.
It is art. It really is. But yeah, I mean, remakes, I don't know. It's, to me, remake something that was horrible. Well, just ask everybody, hey, what was a film that really sucked? And okay, how can we make that better? Don't go take something that's been like
Roadhouse. Leave Roadhouse alone.
Leave Roadhouse alone.
And do a remake of that.
The
No.
problem is we're thinking art. They think for money.
oh yeah,
Right.
it's an
all about,
industry, obviously.
what's in the seed equals money.
Yeah.
As long as we're going with Swayze movies, Red Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how great Chris Hemsworth is. No. The made-for-TV musical Dirty Dancing.
Oh.
Can I please have a vomit break?
Now, if they could just do a remake of Kevin Costner, Waterworld.
Okay.
Well, again, there's one that could take.
That's
That
one
could
that
work.
could improve.
We could improve upon.
Yeah.
Just no Kevin Costner. That's perfect. Let's get
What about Fame? A remake of Fame
I
that they
didn't watch
did.
it.
I didn't
Well,
Now
watch
the
it.
Fame TV series.
I typed in and found a list of 1980s remakes. I've watched one, the 80s. That was
Yeah,
good.
and it wasn't that spectacular. Like, well, in the film of Dukes of Hazzard. How many times we talked to your dad and he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that was going. Dukes of Hazzard was on TV. I tuned in." He goes, "That wasn't the Dukes of Hazzard I remember."
Oh yeah, when they revamped the show.
And I'm sitting here going, nope. There's 83 films on the list.
There's a
And when I
lot.
saw Red Dawn, I was like, I saw it back in the day, so why don't you watch it now?
You know, and sometimes
Yeah.
those remakes become very controversial because they change the
Oh, yeah,
The
no,
what
they changed
made-
the enemy.
they change like Annie. Whenever Annie went from our 1982 redheaded,
Mhm.
freckled little white girl to the remake where we have an African American young lady who played it and did an amazing job in the role. But the fact that what the character looked like or what, you know, the persona of that character changed.
Going all the way back to the comic strips, too.
Yeah.
He was
That, you know,
like the
sometimes
movie, first movie.
those reboots or a remake or whatever, sometimes I feel like they go so far that they're trying to make it, you know, now and political or whatever. They're trying to make some kind of social statement instead of just
Yeah,
updating the movie.
yeah. Give me a retelling, but keep your ideologies out of it.
well, I mean, there is something to be said for representation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not talking
agree.
about representation. I'm just talking about ideologies.
But, you know, of course, there was recently with the live action remake of Little Mermaid.
And
Mhm.
Yeah.
she was awesome, and that did not change the story
Oh, no.
one iota.
You know, she's beautiful, she's talented.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, for me, that's just a matter of casting the best person
Yes.
who cares skin tone, hair tone, as long as they can act the part.
And when we talk about making money, because, you know, Hollywood is an industry, to me, on remakes, you might want to have an understanding of the fan base. Because if you piss them off, you might not succeed as well as you thought you were. Because there's been some major losses taken here of late from some of the big studios. They've lost some money off some. Of course, you got to go into IP mining where they own intellectual properties. The Great Mouse owning Star Wars and a lot of Lucas. And well, there's a big, you know,
Is it-
stir up over Tolkien's legacy.
Some of it is it not like the producers where they are making more money from a flop than from
Here's a good one. Revenge of the Nerds. I watched YouTube of Comic-Con and the whole cast was there. You know how Revenge of the Nerds got made? The company made so much money off of Empire Strikes Back, they needed a tax write-off. So they gave them this money and go make this freaking film. They expected it to lose money so they could write it
They
off.
wanted a tax write-off.
And it made more than what they spent on it. And I'm sure that really pissed them off more money. Yeah. But yeah, that's how Revenge of the Nerds got made. It was supposed to be a write-off.
Well, okay, let's talk about, besides me, has anybody watched both versions of Hairspray?
Yes.
Frankly, I'm down with the remake.
They were a
I
hit.
really
I think
like
that
the
was a hit.
remake. Oh
I
my
love
gosh, I
the
can't believe
first
I'm
one.
seeing it.
I loved the second one.
The young lady in the lead was fantastic. Travolta was hilarious.
I love
Mhm.
him.
And
You can't beat Christopher Walken.
no,
anymore.
you can't.
I mean,
No.
he's just his own
No.
awesome, quirky self. You know,
I think it's
Queen
really,
Latifah.
Queen Latifah
Oh, yeah, Queen Latifah.
knocked
Yeah, that was
role
really good.
out of the park.
Yeah.
There's some, you know, they hit a home run with. Again, I don't know. You also have to look, I guess, at the Hollywood model and how they make money. And I think a lot of productions now have way too many chiefs on set and not enough idea people out there. And they just go, hey, write this remake. Let's throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. And if it loses money, we'll just write it off. Salem's Lot. October 3rd, I'll be tuning in to see Salem's Lot on Max. One, because that television show scared the absolute crap out of me.
Mhm.
What they could do now.
Yeah,
What they-
same thing they did with it.
Yeah.
TV movie, frightening. The remake, not that bad, but Tim Curry scared me more.
You know, that's Chip Carey. I mean, Chip Carey's good at that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if we're talking about, and it's not technically not 80s, but it is Stephen King, The Stand. You know, the 4-part miniseries, which was, I believe, the first time they'd ever done anything like that with the Stephen King book. Frankly, The Stand was a good one to do it with. It was fantastic. The remake?
Pet Cemetery. How'd you feel? How did you guys feel about the remake of Pet Cemetery?
Didn't watch it. The first one was scary, Zach. Scary movie, so I
didn't watch the first.
So Amanda's not invited to the Halloween special.
You can have Jonathan.
Jonathan, you can come.
For the Halloween
I
season.
taught high school. I had enough fear.
Here it's floating around. They're wanting to remake Gremlins.
No.
It's supposed to be cheesy and campy.
Yes.
I mean, that's what makes it scary and funny at the same time. It's supposed to be cheesy and
It's
campy.
more funny than scary. I never
Yeah.
thought it was scary. I just always
Yeah, even though it's classified as a horror film, it's hilarious.
I laughed
I mean,
so
there's
hard through
obviously
that
some
movie.
terrifying parts, but
No.
but
that's how it was marketed.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's a Christmas horror film.
We talked about the all-female lead cast of Ghostbusters. I don't. Is that a reboot or a remake?
Remake.
To me, it was one of those things that if you look at it as a standalone movie,
Absolutely, a reboot. I'm sorry, I said the wrong word.
Reboot.
Reboot.
a standalone movie, the all-female cast, I thought it was a good movie. I don't see it as a Ghostbusters movie as part of the, the canon or whatever, but it's a really good Ghostbuster movie. You know what I mean?
It's like an alternative reality.
And it's not Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's like a timeline branch.
Yeah. We're in a
Yeah.
we're in the multiverse where
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, weren't they trying to reboot it to have these 4 making
Yeah,
other
I think it
movies?
was, and I thought it was really good. I know it was panned very hard, but I didn't think it was horrible at all. When you have in that film, you have original cast showing up in different roles. You have a bust of Harold Ramis there, which I thought was a really great gesture nod. And you just have to look at that for what it is. I mean, I don't think they're going, well, we're about to remake the entire Ghostbusters that you love, but now it's female. They're not doing that.
but it felt that way because we had never had a different version of our Ghostbusters.
As long as they don't start touching John Hughes films, I don't think there will be a civil war in this country. You start messing with like Breakfast Club or oh gosh, how could you remake Ferris Bueller?
You couldn't.
You couldn't get away with it. Well, he wouldn't get away with half of it now.
No.
There'd be too many cameras catching him.
True. Modern technology really, a lot of movies that we liked would kind of get screwed up by modern technology.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you said, too many cameras.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Too many people with cell phones.
Yeah.
Recording everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if they did it now, Ferris would have a TikTok.
Yes.
Oh, he'd be
He
out
would be
there.
an influencer.
He would, yeah. That we'd like to copyright
Hashtag.
this idea in case we do see a Ferris Bueller's Day Off remade and he's an influencer. Oh, we came up with that idea first. Mark it today.
Hashtag Save Ferris.
Yeah. Hashtag Save Ferris. And then that band came out, Save Ferris. I'm like, what are they doing?
Star Trek. I mean, total timeline reboot
Yeah.
on the Star Trek films.
Now, Manor, this is your area of expertise.
Yes. Well, I think it was good in a way. So it did introduce the world of Trek to a whole new generation, and then subsequently, Howard was it Kurtzman? He was the producer. That then gave him the power to give us our newer Trek. So we've got Strange New Worlds, Discovery, these really awesome, great shows. So I'm grateful to those, and it did expand our Trek audience and our Trek universe. So I'm for it. I love it.
I think there's been some really great nods to the past. Like in the movie, I had a total brain toot. Also a Generation X characteristic. Going and watching it in theaters. What was the last one that we went and saw? We went and saw in theater.
The last movie we went and saw in the theater?
Star Trek movie.
Star Trek movie?
That we saw in theaters.
Into Darkness?
Maybe.
Maybe.
No, it was Beyond.
Okay. There were nods. There were good nods to the past and the characters from the past and the history. I think that a respectful nod to the past and what it's playing on is so important.
The first one had Leonard Nimoy in, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
that's a blessing. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
passing the torch.
You know,
We did with Generations because we had Shatner as Kirk.
Yeah.
Right.
In Generations.
And we talked about Ghostbusters just a little bit ago, and Harold Ramis. The one thing that stands out to me the most about the two newer Ghostbusters movies is they were so awesome at including him and his part of the story. It was so respectful.
Mhm.
I mean, like I have goosebumps on my arms right now. It was done in such a way that it didn't take anything away from the storyline. It just added into it, and it brought up that nostalgia for all of us that were the original Ghostbusters fans. I thought it was done. Yeah, I thought it was done in such a nice way.
Yeah, I think it was respectful. And I mean, I think it's something about films you watched as a young person. They reach you more in some ways. I think they touch you, and Ghostbusters is probably the most perfect film ever made.
My brother watched it 105 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can watch it any day of the week and love it. So those characters, like family to you. So when you see something like that, you're 40-something years old, you're sitting in the theater and they're like, why is that grown man over there crying?
Well, because they imprint on you when you are still forming, and that helps form who you are, your personality as an adult. So, and then, so they are you. You are
definitely
that character. Absolutely.
They make it part of the fabric of who you become as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think, too, in a time, I see it because I read a lot of different things and see the uproar over like The Acolyte here recently, which
Episode 5 was great.
Yeah.
The rest,
and whatever. It got canceled, obviously due to low viewership. But I've come to the feeling, because let me tell you, Rings of Power really wears me out. I'm of the understanding of like things like that. I don't have to like everything because Star Wars is on it, or Star Trek's on it, or Lord of the Rings. But that may appeal to somebody else, and that's good. It brings them into the fandom, and maybe they'll see this and I don't have to like everything they put out, but I'm glad it's out there because golly,
that's what Ed was saying
Star
earlier.
Trek survived so well off of that ability to reach new audiences and bring them in, and then they kind of go into that. But I know I'm getting told to quit rambling.
Yeah, you can't see, but I'm over here spinning my hand like, okay, wrap it up. Other people need to talk.
Okay, Paul, stop talking.
It's still carrying on, like Star Trek is still carrying on his original thought process.
Yeah.
A universe where we have solved the problems on our planet are going out to see what's there.
Yeah.
We could do an entire podcast about nothing but Star Trek and Star Wars. We could do a whole episode.
I think so.
Nothing
I think
but
that's
series.
been
a series, a sci-fi
the
special.
movies have
Look
done
how-
that, and boy, the shows have really hit on
Mhm.
on that hard about we can be a better group of people, of Earthlings, and then we can go out and help others and explore things, and then unfortunately get into combat out there. But
Look at the last 20 years of the new life breathed into Doctor Who,
oh
Yes.
where that was just maybe you catch it on PBS. Now it's boom, it's everywhere.
Disney, right?
Yeah, Disney owns that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Great Mouse owns everything.
It does, yeah.
Well, there's so many new Whovians.
So only a matter of time before they move into DC.
Yeah.
Take over the office.
They need some help.
I started to say DC does need a little help, but I think
Some of their
that
newer
they've got
stuff's
that.
looking pretty good.
I think they've got the piece that they needed.
Yeah.
I wonder if a corporation could be the president.
If they could just recapture that magic of Wonder Woman,
There you go.
not 1984. Sadly,
Yeah.
that wasn't so good.
Well, Wonder Woman jumping from TV to movie. Yeah, it's pretty good.
No, I mean, that's what Star Trek did. That's what,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we
Look at the Incredible Hulk.
Mhm.
That's one.
We all know the song at the end. You hear it anywhere. I'm
yeah.
gonna walk down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, we all start slow walking down the road in our minds, and you can picture Lou Ferrigno standing beside, him.
Here's one. Oh, go ahead. No, I see the death stare. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Channeled my mother for a minute, but seeing it go from like a TV budget from the 70s, 80s, whatever, to a big screen budget, to me,
Incredible.
that's an awesome upgrade. I think that even like Batman and Robin, our old version, our old DC stuff, I can't wait to see a good, awesome version of it. I mean, we've had some, some of our campy stuff, and it was good, but I can't wait to see one that really has that dark DC feel to it, up on the big screen.
Like Dark Knight.
That's what I was like, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Well, even Robert
but-
Pattinson's The Batman I was like, nah. He's like, well, the first thing I thought was the Twilight dude. No. But then I was like, he's actually pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing about remakes. Here's a throw out there. Christopher Reeve is always Superman to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like whenever we talk with our
And he
kids
proved it
and
with the rest of his life too.
Yeah.
and we'll
You know?
we'll say, something about Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
when we talk about it, Joseph and Evelyn, who they think of is different than the other. Like Joseph, his is always Tobey Maguire.
Mhm.
That's his Spider-Man. That's his go-to, and so I think that with a lot of these characters, even though we see the modern version in our mind, when we hear the name, like the Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno pops in my head
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. And like I said, Christopher Reeve, Superman, my dad, it would have been Steve Reeves because that's the Superman he grew up with.
Mm.
And, Henry Cavill is Superman to this younger generation.
Okay. Let's go back to a different movie. Fright Night.
Hated the remake.
Loved the remake.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
David Tennant in the remake.
Is he? To me, yes. I don't know. I just know Colin Farrell is in it.
Colin Farrell was the main.
I know.
So do you like his penguin?
I don't know yet. I do not. But, to me, that of course, the original Fright Night, kind of hard to beat. The original Fright Night is pretty amazing. But as someone who I can quote parts of the original Fright Night. That's just amazing. But I thought they did pretty well on the remake. I mean, was it
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin? That's it. Anton Yelchin. Yep.
The remake
Yeah.
was more frightening.
Yes, the remake was more frightening, and I liked that about it.
Oh,
I mean, they didn't have to remake it, but I'm okay that they did.
I think you just had something pull up about Spaceballs getting a remake.
yeah.
Yes, I saw
I
that.
thought it was
Or is it a
No,
sequel?
it's a sequel.
It's a
It is
sequel?
Spaceballs, the sequel, and it does have Mel Brooks producing it, which to me is just comical in 2024 to think, what will Mel Brooks get away with?
His longevity
because-
is impressive.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's always been one to be very, tongue in cheek about some of the things that he doesn't, and just blatantly obvious on some of the things that he's pushed the envelope on. And so I'm excited to see what he does in this new Spaceballs sequel.
because was it History of the World Part 1
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah.
History of the Part 1, Part 2 didn't do so well.
No.
I tried.
It,
I tried. It wasn't.
Was it?
it was it
Yeah,
was
It was a series.
it was like they were trying too hard to be funny.
Yeah.
Well, I like the at the end of part 1, the trailer of what they said would be in part 2. That was fun.
Using space and hell.
Yeah.
See, Hitler on ice.
If those things would have showed up in History of the World
Yeah.
Part 2, it
Well,
would
that
have
would've
been
yeah,
watchable.
it would've been watchable. But who would have gotten mad?
Everybody.
Talking about that at work, and the coworker said, "Oh, you're really into Hitler, aren't you?" No, it's a Jewish comedy.
You're really into Hitler.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back just real quick on the bringing in new generations. The Lego movies
Mhm.
of like Star Wars, and Batman.
Batman was very
I
funny.
think those are so cute. I think they are so funny. What? We're
Are you scared of anything? Snakes with clown faces. That's my thing. Oh, thank goodness it wasn't snakes with clown faces, and people look at me like I'm nuts.
But I'm wondering, how are we going to feel later when Harrison Ford isn't Indiana Jones? But they're going to reintroduce it.
I'm
Well,
so
it
mad.
looked like they were kind of
Yes.
head that way. In
Mhm.
the last
With
couple
that
of
Shia
movies.
LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of went, no, he's
Yeah.
problematic.
that did not get the response that they had hoped.
Mhm.
People did not find that endearing at all. We were irritated.
I think that's going to
I
be,
really don't see him doing any others because,
No.
it really was like this is the end of it.
I'm thinking,
Same
you
thing
know,
with Star Wars.
like I
He
said,
said that was it.
Mhm.
This
remake
performance
some
is my
bad
last
things.
one.
Remake Critters.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That toilet.
Yeah. Critters would be a fun one to see remade.
With CGI.
Yeah. Because they're hilariously horrible and supposed to be terrifying. I guess they kind of are in moments, but take some films like that. Like, gosh, this movie was horrible. Well, they're doing. Peter Dinklage has done The Toxic Avenger.
I would be about that. But of course, I like Peter Dinklage. He's just amazing.
Tremors. That would be another good one.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
They have a
Dune.
lot of sequels
Anybody
to
else
it.
a Dune fan? Is it just me?
The new Dune was really good.
Never watched the first
I didn't watch the second one. The first one was terrible.
Oh, but it was a beautiful terrible. It was one of those. It was an amazing terrible. The remake is just.
But the visuals, the eye candy was fantastic. Beetlejuice just came out.
Yeah, sequel, not a reboot, though.
I
Yeah.
want to see it. I do.
We
I think.
almost saw it in IMAX.
I know.
It was enjoyable, but it did not recapture the magic from the first.
It's kind of hard
It was.
to.
It
Didn't
was
say this is
a lot of
Showtime.
thread heavy. Okay, I'm
When I
just
watch
looking
it.
through a list of the worst 80s movies. I could do with a remake of Weekend at Bernie's.
That would be kind of funny.
That one could be really funny in today's day and age if done right.
With AI and CGI, they could probably pull off a lot more.
I mean, it's the Joe Diffie song "Propping Up."
Yeah, yeah.
The soundtrack.
Of course, next down on the list is Porky's. I don't think they could make that. They could not remake that for any
Why
amount
would
of
you
money.
recreate the Mona Lisa?
Let's just go ahead and put anything by Mel Brooks would be off the table. You could
Completely
not
off the
redo any of his stuff. I think that some of the scary movies from back in the day, I mean, there's some of the ones that I watch them now and I'm like, how did this ever scare me? I'm thinking they could redo this and it could be awesome and scare the fire out of
The
people.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
In your head.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Jaws could, I don't think, be remade. I think the original
It's
Jaws
called
is.
the Meg right now.
Yeah, but the original Jaws is terrifying.
Yes. Yeah. I use that as an example in my class because, you know, the theme is fear. You don't have to see the shark to be afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's scarier when you don't see it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
X-Files played on that
intentional.
back in the 90s with
Yeah.
darkness. It's dark. It's cheaper to use shadows than it is to use effects.
Yeah, and that taps into man's fear of the unknown.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Back to when we were huddled around fires to keep the animals away. It was out there in the darkness.
I wouldn't mind see maybe Monster Squad could remake that. That would be fun to see remade.
I remember Monster Squad. I also remember being confused about the name and thought it was Saturday the 14th, which turns out to be one of the most terrible movies ever.
Should they remake Saturday the 14th?
Anything would be better than what they've already done.
What are some other good ones there, Bridget?
To remake
Yeah.
that they should remake.
Howard the Duck.
I think they could redo Howard the Duck.
Well, he was
He's
in
briefly in
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think they could do better.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I mean, I remember watching that as a child and being thoroughly confused.
It was the duck with boobs, wasn't it? It really threw you off.
The whole thing was just WTF. I mean,
Yeah.
oh no, what they should remake Mac and Me.
Oh.
Oh man. Oh, that's a.
That
Yeah.
was some special effects there.
I think that's one that should have been a tax write-off. Probably was.
Okay, I think one that they could redo now, and it still stayed true to the original, and that's Weird Science.
Oh.
I think that Weird Science with the technology and all that now,
Even though
I
it's
think-
Hughes.
I know. I still think that they could do a new Weird Science and stay
With the
true to the
technology
story,
now, yeah.
and it'd be so
Change
fun.
the
Real
technology
genius.
a little bit. Real genius.
Yeah.
Real
They
genius.
Yeah.
really redo Real
What was it with the
Genius.
kids in the Tilted World? Travel?
The Explorers.
Explorers. That would be a great
Explorers.
one, honestly. With today's technology, I think it'd be more feasible for those kids.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
That's a great movie.
Forgot about that one. I think Was that the one they actually were in space and they were in the alien?
Had that bubble, and then in the Delta world, they went to space.
Yeah,
with
I
the
forgot all
aliens.
about that movie.
And I think it was like it was just the kids
Yeah,
were causing trouble. The kids of the aliens were causing some trouble or something.
Not trouble. They were the ones that sent the implant of the dreams to the one kid of how to build the circuits. They just wanted somebody to play with.
there you go.
Earth Girls are easy.
Okay, you can't remake that one.
No.
Never.
Because I'm a blonde. Oh.
Sorry, kids.
Copyright, but that's a great film.
Mannequin.
Mannequin. Oh, I haven't thought about that movie in forever.
I think they could do better.
Yeah. What about Big?
That's a weird.
That's a
That cannot be
weird.
remade now.
I think that because of the age gap.
Because of the
Yeah, that's one that
Never
would
ending
never
story.
fly now.
Never ending story.
I don't know. I think you can't. I just
Betrayed.
Yeah. Artax.
There are still kids in school now that reference those movies. I think that that's one of the ones that has held on over time, and I'm sure it's because their parents showed them, hey, this is a cool movie. I had a kid come in the other day and they were talking to me about the movie Labyrinth, and I had to show a picture to make sure they were still talking about the same one I was talking about, and they were. And so I do think that there are some like that maybe just a little digital
I actually think that one's being tossed
facelift,
around
but
to be remade.
But you can't. Well, it's been on Facebook. Seeing with like Tom Hiddleston taking over the David Bowie role. Thankfully, that is not happening. Labyrinth should not ever be remade. Period. End of story. If they remake it, we riot.
we
heard it
ride
first.
it on.
As much as I like Tom Hiddleston, no,
Muster
keep
the
your
real
hands
hero.
off of Labyrinth.
Spears shall be shattered.
One that I liked that I think that with the way that special effects and stuff are now, that would be good. Firestarter.
They did remake
had
that.
one.
They
Did
did
they
remake
redo
that.
It
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I think it was like
it's on.
HBO or I don't know.
Was that during the years we didn't have cable because we were too
No,
poor?
it's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Yeah. I
Okay,
think.
well, I retract that statement, and I will hold my opinions until I've actually watched it.
I'm putting in my vote for The Last Starfighter to be remade with modern technology.
that would be a good
That would
one.
be really good.
Yeah, it would.
That especially now kids, play the video games at home. It's
Sure.
I think it's great. Let's do it.
Night of the Creeps.
People know what that is.
Have you never seen? Oh my gosh!
I don't watch scary movies.
What's funny about it is one, it's supposed to be scary, but two, the guy that directed it also directed Monster Squad, and when there's one scene in the movie where they're in a bathroom and there's something about the Monster Squad wrote on a bathroom stall door. That was the only part I really liked about it. Well, Salem's Lot's been remade. We did get a sequel to The Shining, which
Did we?
yeah.
Did not know that.
Oh my gosh, why am I going blank? Because I'm old.
What was the first episode? Generation.
Shoot.
Doctor
Sleep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a sequel to The Shining with Danny Torrance still
Oh,
having the ability.
Ewan McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
really?
Yeah, it's really good.
I like you in McGregor.
Had a great bad guy in it with Rose. She was terrifying. Yeah, they're going through, and this group is finding kids who have the ability of The Shining, and they're sucking that ability out of them, killing them. They feed off of it to stay
That sounds
immortal.
terrible.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. Cujo.
Oh, Cujo.
Cujo would be a good remake, I think. It's a guy in a dog costume, half of it.
Yeah, but with modern technology,
It could be a terrifying dog.
it'd be a terrifying dog. But I was thinking about cell phones and
Well, yeah, you could
they
call
have
and
to
get help.
adapt the story to where the
Yeah.
cell phone is outside the car.
yeah.
Dropped it while
Battery.
running. Battery's dead. Yep.
Glenn of the Cave Bear.
The dog eats.
Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that movie in forever.
I think that might be a tough one.
That would be rough. I mean, how it made it the first time.
Series or something.
About Encino Man.
Okay,
That'd be kind of
buddy.
funny. But remake it with that same cast because they're all still kicking around.
Oh, they are. That'd be right. We used to do a sequel to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, I know it's not
Betty
technically
Nuts.
80s, but it is Gen X. Freaky Friday.
Yeah,
They did the remake.
the remake of
They're
that.
making a sequel right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
The remake was excellent.
It really was. It was good. I mean, there's been lots of different versions, but the actual remake of it was a good
Jamie
one.
Lee Curtis,
Mhm.
amazing. I've actually got a song from the soundtrack on mine.
Well, speaking of like remakes from earlier Gen X, I do like what's the one with the twins?
And that is actually the
Parent Trap?
early
Parent Trap?
Parent Trap, yes.
early 60s.
Haley Mills.
I
looked it up.
loved that one, and then I also loved the '90s version. I love them both.
Mhm. They are both.
We
really
liked
good.
Quantum Leap.
The remake.
I did.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I never thought of it as like the real Quantum Leap.
As
They do
Scarlett
mention him.
Pimpernel said, there is nothing so bad as something that is not so bad.
Well, the only thing you got lost on was they were very quiet. They were quite clear that Sam Beckett was not going to show up.
he never.
He never left home.
Never
Just the
left
most
home.
bullcrap series ending in the history of the universe.
And probably the first television episode that ever made me cry.
Yeah, he said that he had no desire to be part of the reboot, and so there's no hope. He will not ever leave home. So, I did like them trying to do stuff on Quantum Leap.
He wouldn't leap.
He was never to leap home.
Oh, he would never leap home. Okay. I got it.
Could you do a remake of Home Alone using today's technology? Even though they keep,
No.
redoing it and redoing it and redoing it.
No, wouldn't work. I don't think it would, just because a house that big would absolutely have top of the line.
Yeah.
Security,
The
the
ring cams.
Yeah, they'd have everything.
They're like, Kevin, I can see you.
I know they made a very failed attempt at a series of Uncle Buck, and it didn't even make a season.
That's a great one.
I loved Uncle
Well,
Buck.
some movies should not be made into television shows, like My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not meant to be a show.
Mm-mm.
Once you have the wedding, that's it.
They
You
can-
don't have to keep going on.
They could bring back the X Files for me.
Well, they keep
They keep
doing
trying.
it.
Yeah.
And because one of my friends, I've introduced him to the X Files. He's seeing so I'm revisiting the X Files through his eyes, and
Yeah.
I don't.
Nice.
There's things I don't remember, and he keeps asking me about. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. I'm like, you just watch out. This is gonna get better. But then there's other things that get worse
Yeah.
as the sequels go on. I'm like, there's stuff I just like pretend didn't happen. I just block it out. I just don't want it to
Those
happen.
don't count.
Exactly.
How many?
So I got the name of this
Don't
therapy
worry.
guy from Canada that I can help you out.
How
Oh
many
yeah.
seasons did Lone Gunman go?
The Lone Gunman was just one series.
Was one
It was just
one
one
season, wasn't it?
Mhm. Because
I loved
It was amazing, and I wish it hadn't ended.
it was just so cheesy.
Yeah.
I loved it, but yeah, it did not have the viewership that the X Files did.
Dresden Files didn't get it either.
I'm still mad about Dresden Files.
Loved Dresden Files.
They should have brought it back. It was so good.
They could do it really well now. That was just really the beginnings of like CG stuff on television shows.
Did you ever see The Librarian?
Yes, we watched that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I liked that. Just looking through stuff about 80s films, and I love this statement. One aspect of 80s films that I genuinely love is the total acceptance of absurdity.
Yes.
Mm,
That is a very profound statement
Yeah.
when it comes to the movies of the
complete
80s.
absurdity. Cannonball Run.
I mean, what's the one with the ones with Smokey and the Bandit? Did he
Yeah.
have, like a chimpanzee or something?
Oh yeah.
No, that
Yeah,
was
it's
Oh.
that was
That was-
in that was in Cannonball Run too. They had a chimpanzee driving a limo. I mean, the guys were actually driving it behind behind the glass, but it looked like the chimpanzee was every which way but loose with
Maybe-
Clint
yeah,
Eastwood.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking too. Yeah,
I know there was somebody with a chimpanzee driving a big truck or something.
Well, what about, and I'm just looking this up, what about TV shows that have been rebooted, like MacGyver, like Magnum PI, Matlock is coming.
yeah. I haven't watched any of them. They just didn't appeal to me.
Yeah, I know no interest in either.
I have interest in Matlock because it's, Kathy Bates.
Yes.
Kathy Bates is a classic, though. I mean, she is just
Pick other
classic.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think there should be another Stargate SG1,
Yeah.
but as a sequel, not a reboot.
Yeah,
You are preaching to the choir over here.
yeah.
I
She loves Stargate.
love Stargate.
I enjoyed it.
Love the movie.
Did
Love
you
the
know
movie.
that you can pick it up on Pluto TV?
Yes, I did.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
But if you'd like to, my bank account is willing.
Yeah, let's reboot. I'm just going through this, and some of these on this list aren't reboots. They're like
Just terrible.
like the Connors. You know, when Roseanne. Was
Didn't
coming back.
90210 get a reboot?
Yes, I believe 90210 got a reboot.
You know, one that I don't even know how it falls in here except the Beverly Hillbillies. I loved this show. I grew up watching, the show The Beverly Hillbillies, and then they did that movie version, the more modern movie version.
It was campy.
It was so campy. It was so campy. And I don't like when that happens. I mean, I really don't like when they take something that, everybody knows Granny and her big boots, and we know all of the things about these characters, and then they take them and they make a super cheesy version of the characters.
Well,
I hate that.
and now someone would probably be upset over that.
Well, yeah, but
Well, at least they did the right way with the Addams Family, though.
yes.
They're-
Yeah.
The TV show was campier than the movies,
Mhm.
and then of course the most recent.
Wednesday.
I think they did a phenomenal job.
He was there.
Oh.
Did you see season 2? First 4 episodes?
No, where?
Tim Burton's directing the first 4 of season 2 of Wednesday. It's what's being said. Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'll wait for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good series.
I'll watch that. It was good.
They hit and miss, obviously. And like I say, one, know your demographic, who you wanting this to pan to. Yes. I think too, with nostalgia films like remakes, you've got to loop in that old crowd because they're going to be like, yeah, but you also want to get in that newer audience as
The
well.
people making the movies now are Gen X, so it is their nostalgia. They're like, oh, let's play on what I remember and expand on it, make it better, or let's hope they make it better.
Oh, we're great on time. You want to wrap that up?
Definitely don't want to see anything.
We are kind of at this point.
We're
Rambling
burning up
on
an
like a bunch of
hour.
old people.
So now that we've hit the end of this episode, we want to thank you again for joining in and listening to us. We are the GenXperts.
And if any of our ideas start coming out in films, we will find you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.